friend Stephanie here, and I'm back with more movie chatter. And what I have for you today is episode 2 of movies people love that I don't connect with. And this is part of a series that was recommended and requested that I do, where I talk about either movies that people don't like that I love, or movies that people love that I don't connect with. So it's all meant in good fun. Please don't take this too seriously. I try to keep my commentary light because I really don't want to hurt any feelings. And if your favorite film happens to be in here, please don't get upset or hurt, because it's not meant to be hurtful. It's just meant to show that we all have different tastes in movies, and maybe you love something that I don't, and vice versa. But before I get into my 10 picks for this episode, I just want to give you a little life update which might explain some of what's going on with the channel. I know I haven't been posting as often as what I would like. I've been doing about once a week. I prefer to do 2 or 3 times a week. I'm also very behind in the comments. If you have been around the channel for a while, you know that my younger brother was diagnosed back in November with glioblastoma, which is a very aggressive and terminal form of brain cancer. He's only 54. He was in good health, had a seizure at work, boom, diagnosed. He went through surgery, he went through radiation and chemo, did great, scans were clear, everything's good. But about 2 months ago, he went for a routine scan and they noticed something a little wonky. They weren't sure what it was, so they kind of left us hanging, had him come back again. Seemed to have gotten a little bigger, still weren't convinced of what it was completely, and we just found out that his cancer has in fact returned. It is inoperable, so we are trying to figure out options for him going forward. So that has really been consuming me. It's been causing me and my family a great amount of anxiety, sleepless nights, you name it. So I apologize for being behind on things, but now that we know what's going on, and as my brother said to me, you better move your ass and make more videos because he enjoys them. Now that we know what's going on, I will be posting more often. I'm trying to catch up on the comments, but if I do fall behind, please, I apologize. Please just understand that sometimes life just does what life does, and sometimes I'm just not in a good space to deal with certain things. But I'm doing my best, and the channel isn't going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere, and you can expect to see more frequent videos now that things are we know what we're dealing with. So I'm going to get right into my 10 films, but I want to start by showing you one of the films that I said I did not connect with last time was Lawrence of Arabia. And you guys, a lot of you guys were like, you stopped at the wrong part because I only get halfway through. I never make it to the second disc. I repurchased this. I repurchased the 4K Steelbook because if I'm going to watch this, I'm going to watch it on 4K. There's a lot of sand and a lot of walking. That was my commentary. But I have to get through disc 2. I am committed to getting through this movie because you guys highly recommended it. You said that I needed to give it more time. I needed to be more patient. I am going to do that. So I'm just showing you that I'm listening to your comments, and I'm a good faith player, and I am trying to get myself to finish this one because it's a classic for a reason. So I am going to finish Lawrence of Arabia, and I just wanted to share that I hear you. I hear you and I understand what you're saying. So let's get into today's picks. And I'm sorry for the long intro. I don't normally do these long intros. Now, again, these are movies that I'm not saying they're terrible movies for the most part. But a lot of times there are just things in movies that I don't connect with, just like you guys. And my first one, I think this is a very well done movie. I thought Brendan Fraser was amazing in this movie. He broke my heart. But it's The Whale. I don't hate this movie. After watching it though, I don't see myself being able to watch this again. It was so heartbreaking. And I probably feel about The Whale the way a lot of people feel about movies like Requiem for a Dream, which is a movie I love and can watch anytime. But I know a lot of people have said that movie wrecked them. That's how I feel about this one. With him, with the people either enabling him or screaming at him, and the binge eating and the sadness and how it must feel to be trapped in your own body. I couldn't even imagine. And I think this is a really well done movie, but it just crushed me. It ruined me. I do keep it in my collection because I think it's an important film. And if someone happens to come over and they want to see it, I want to have it available. It's not something I'm going to purge from my collection. I just don't see myself being able to sit and watch it maybe ever, but at least not for a while. So The Whale is my first one. Now the second one, this might ruffle some feathers. A lot of these might ruffle some feathers. I did not buy this. This is a review copy that came in from Paramount. I can watch it objectively and just, I mean, I know I don't connect with the movie, but I want to see what the 4K looks like so I can give you guys feedback for those of you who do like it, let you know if it's worth the pickup. And it's my man, Will Ferrell in Anchorman. If you watched my other videos, you know that something about Will Ferrell doing these movies, I just find them tedious. I just can't do it. The comedy, I have a real issue with comedy movies in general, but like Will Ferrell, he just hits wrong for me. Now, in his defense, I really did enjoy him back in the days of SNL, Saturday Night Live, when he did like a cheerleading thing with I think it was Sherry O'Terry, but I thought they were hilarious together. But then when he got into the movies, I was like, I can't take it. I can't take it. I think in my last installment of this, I think I picked Step Brothers. I feel like he plays almost the same character all the time, and it's the same thing over and over and over, and I just find it so tedious. But let me know, how do you guys feel about like Will Ferrell as a comedian, how do you feel about his movies? Do you connect with his movies, or am I the only one out here who is like, if I see a Will Ferrell movie, I can't? But I will review this, and I will let you guys know if the 4K is worth the pickup. I hear it looks good, so I can be open-minded like that. But I don't know. I know Kelly will love this because she loves comedies, but it's just not my thing. I'm sorry. Now this one, I think some of you might understand, some of you might not. I'm going to pick on horror, my favorite genre, but I did not connect with A Quiet Place Part 2. I absolutely loved A Quiet Place. I thought it was new. I thought it was different. I thought it was refreshing. It was anxiety inducing. I saw it in the theaters. It was one of the best theater experiences I had probably ever had because everyone was afraid to move, including me. I'm like, I don't even want to eat my popcorn because I'm afraid something's going to jump out. It was such a great experience. And then in Quiet Place 2, now, in case you haven't seen this, you don't want to hear any spoilers, just fast forward until you don't see me holding this up anymore for anyone who hasn't seen it. I really felt the absence of John Krasinski's character in this film. I know he directed it. I know he's in the first few minutes. It's kind of a flashback to show what happened. But I just felt like just the mom and the kids, something about it, it just didn't have the same feel. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't anxious. We know what the monsters are. We know what we're dealing with. We know what to expect. And I just didn't feel like it had that same effect that the first one did. Tell me if I'm alone in this. Did you feel like A Quiet Place 2 held up to the anxiety and the newness and the fresh feeling of the first Quiet Place? Because I want to know if I'm alone in this. I wasn't affected by this at all. I was actually a little bit bored, but you know, it was okay. It was okay. I am going to see the new one coming out just because I'm a horror fan and I want to support the franchise, but this one, I feel like it fell victim to the sophomore slump, so we'll see what happens with the next one. Now this one, I know a lot of people really, really enjoyed this one, and it's an A24 film, so you guys might really not like me after this one, but I just found it not enjoyable at all. And it is, it's written by the writer of The Florida Project and Tangerine. It is called Red Rocket, and again, it's an A24 film, and it says Mikey Saber is back home in small town Texas after burning bridges and flaming out all over Los Angeles, and he is just a bad guy. He's not a good guy. He's involved in the adult movie industry, and I guess he failed at that, and he goes, again with the spoilers, if you don't want to hear spoilers, just fast forward. He meets up with this underage girl who works in a donut shop, and he starts having a sexual relationship with her because he's basically grooming her to make her an adult film star, which I just found so disgusting and so unlikable. I didn't find anyone in this movie to be a likable character. I found them all unlikable. I didn't like what the storyline was. I thought he was disgusting for what he was doing, and I just really didn't like this movie. I didn't like the characters. I didn't buy the storyline. I didn't find it funny. It says on the front that it's hilarious. I didn't think it was funny at all. I thought it was repulsive, actually. But I know a lot of people really, really like this. So let me know down in the comments. Are you a fan of Red Rocket? Were you put off by him? You know, talk about grooming. That's a big word that's being thrown around lately. I mean, talk about, this was like the ultimate grooming movie, and it just really put me off. So I guess I'm getting a little ranty here, so I apologize. But yeah, this one really bothered me, and I didn't like it, and it may be getting purged from my collection. I just held on to it for things like this, like video content. And again, we're going back to picking on horror, so I am going to Scream 6. Now, a couple problems with this one. One thing that I liked, well, two things that I liked. I love that it took place in New York. I love that it was in New York City. I love New York City. I live 40 minutes, 45 minutes away from New York City. I've spent so much time there. I love the vibe of New York City. It's one of my favorite cities ever. So I loved that. I loved that, just like with the Halloween trilogy that they just did, and they ramped up Michael Myers to make him more vicious and more menacing in his attacks. I feel like they did the same thing with Ghostface. They made Ghostface badass, and I really appreciated that. My issues with this, and you know, Nev Campbell not being in it, really, it didn't really affect the movie like I thought it would, but I didn't like the cast. I wasn't crazy about the cast. This almost felt like it was a Scream movie made for a different audience, not the OG fans who have been with the franchise since the first one. I feel like this is almost like a refresh, and I didn't bond with the characters, and something that happened, which never happens. I am the worst person to guess an ending of a movie. Immediately I knew who the killer was. That never happens. I'm so bad at that. But I nailed it on this one, so it kind of ruined it for me. I didn't like it. But I'm not really looking forward to Scream 7, probably because I just didn't like the last two installments of Scream all that much. And I'm going to say what I always say. I think it should have stopped at a trilogy, and I would have been fine with it. The first three are my favorite. But this one just didn't do it for me. I don't know. I don't know if I'll watch this one again. But Scream 6 is on the hit list this time. Now, this will definitely aggravate some people. But and this should not surprise you, I am not a fan of the, I guess it's 1995, Little Women. I can't. I did not grow up reading the books. This was not my jam. I was reading Judy Blume, though. I did get detention in 8th grade for reading aloud to the girls at recess. I read Blubber aloud, and I got caught, and I got detention. I had to scrub the desks in the 8th grade wing. So, yes, I did read, like, young adult novels, but I never read Little Women. It wasn't my thing. It wasn't something I was into. I didn't want to see all these little sisters. I didn't have any sisters. I grew up with a brother. It just wasn't my thing. And then Greta Gerwig, who I am an unapologetic super fan of, put out her version of Little Women. I saw this day one in the theaters, and I was blown away. I absolutely adored what she did with this. Also, I watched all her interviews leading up to it, the promotional interviews, and I love that what she did is she tried to give Louisa May Alcott, the author of the Little Women book, she tried to give her the voice that she could not have at the time when she was writing the book, because they wouldn't have published it. She did not want the ending that the publishers insisted on. The main character either had to pass away or be married, and she didn't want either one of those. So what Greta Gerwig did is she read letters between Louisa May Alcott and her sister where they were talking about the book and what she wanted for the book. And that's what Greta Gerwig did in this, her version of Little Women. She tried to give Louisa May Alcott her voice that she wasn't allowed to have. And I think this is a brilliant, brilliant film. I love the costumes, the cinematography, the choreography of the dancing, the dialogue. I thought the cast was stellar. Saoirse Ronan is awesome as Jo March. I loved, who else was in it? Emma Watson, Saoirse Ronan, Florence Pugh was great. Laura Dern as the mother was fantastic. Meryl Streep. I mean, this is a banger of a movie. I even know guys that love this. So, after seeing this, everybody said, oh, you have to see 1995. This was like watching paint dry. I was crawling through it. I couldn't do it. I know there are people who love this, and I apologize if I'm offending you. I don't mean to, but you compare these two, there's no comparison. And I've heard a lot of people bash this, and No, don't bash it. But this, it really is. It's like watching paint dry, and I'm so sorry. So Little Women is the next one on my list. I'm sorry. Okay, this one. This is another one that it's another A24 film. I seem to be picking on A24. I apologize about that. A lot of people really like this. Now, if you listen to some of the blurbs on here, it says joyous, vibrant, glorious fun, brilliant, a magical ode to childhood. It's the Florida Project. I don't think this is a joyous, happy movie at all. I think this is a terribly sad movie for these kids. It's a story about kids that are living in this motel with their parents, and they can see, they're in Florida, they can see Disney World from where they are. And of course, they have no money to go there. The parents can barely take care of them. And it really is about poverty in America. And these kids are like, they're neglected, and they're making the best of a bad situation. And you know, the little girl is only, I think she's 6 years old, and she's a great little actress. I mean, the acting in this movie is great, and I thought it was really well done. It's almost like a documentary, if you will. But I thought Willem Dafoe was great, and I'm not complaining about any of the acting or anything like that. I just thought this was a really, really sad movie about the realities of poverty in America and what it does to these kids. And you have to think that there are a lot of kids living like this, and what's going to happen to them? Like, they're neglected, their parents can't take care of them, they can't have their basic needs met. And this movie just really made me sad. It tore my heart out. So I didn't find it joyous at all. I didn't find it to be like an ode to childhood. I hope not. I hope there's not, like, this is not the norm for kids these days. So yeah, the Florida Project, just, they really rubbed me the wrong way, and it just really made me sad. It made my heart hurt. So that's why this is not one that I will revisit often. But I do appreciate what they did, how they did the movies as an art form. I do appreciate what the writer director did with the movie. So I thought the acting was great, and the kids were great. But it's a very sad statement on poverty in America. And this one, I think that a lot of people might agree with me on this one, but I know there was a big box set, beautiful box set that was put out, a steelbook box set that was put out when Best Buy was just ending their physical media, their run on physical media. They were closing out, not doing it anymore. And what do? They go and put out a box set for Twilight, the Twilight movies. Now, of course, Kelly loves these, and so this is Kelly's movie. I'm going to blame Kelly for everything. But I can't stand these movies. I think I'm a horror fan. I can go with horror comedy. I can go with horror that isn't even really all that scary. I can go with classic horror. But I don't like this whole, like, I guess, young adult, the young adult vampire movies. Like, it didn't work as a young adult movie because you have the vampire element and other things. But yet it didn't work really as a vampire movie because it just seemed goofy to me. And I didn't connect with this at all. It was one of the reasons that I really wasn't interested in Kristen Stewart as an actor, who I now love. I think she's fantastic, that she's doing projects that fit her. I think she's so talented and so awesome. But this, I found these unwatchable. I actually had to go and see some of them because at the time when these came out in the movies, I had friends who had teenage girls who was they were basically the demographic for this. And they didn't want to take them alone. They needed help. So I got stuck in the theater seeing like 3 of these movies, and I was dying. I couldn't stand it. Ooh, this rubbed me the wrong way. So Twilight is not my jam. If you love Twilight, enjoy it. Just have fun with it. Don't take me seriously. I'm a wacko. But I can't stand these movies. They drive me crazy. But there they are in my collection. Now, these last two, if you didn't already click away, and if you already can't stand me, get ready. Buckle up, Buttercup, because it's going to get bumpy. This next one, I just find it silly. I liked it when I was younger, but I just find it silly. It's goofy, it's annoying, it's grating, and it's just not my thing. Home Alone. I'm sorry. I know this is a Christmas classic. It's a Christmas favorite for so many people. And you know what? It should be. It's perfect for that. And I really do. I like a lot of the actors. I thought Macaulay Culkin was annoying as all in this movie. That's all I can say about it. So annoying. And I know that's what his character was supposed to be. He's a little guy who's left home alone. He's going to be a menace. But yeah, I just don't connect with this one. I am more of a Christmas Story type of person. I like that. That's the kind of humor I like in my movies, especially like a holiday movie. A Christmas Story resonates with me perfectly, but this, I find it unwatchable. Again, Kelly loves it, and I understand why people love it. A lot of people just love this movie, and go ahead and enjoy it, because I am going to be watching Krampus and A Christmas Story while you guys are watching Home Alone. Now, this final stack should put the nail in the coffin, and I apologize, but hear me out. Just hear me out before you click away. My last pick of movies that people love that I don't connect with are the 4 Avengers movies. That would be Avengers, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, and Endgame. Now, hear me out. I do not hate these movies. I understand it is a franchise that made boatloads of money, and it made people happy for a very, very long time. I did really, out of all of them, I think Age of Ultron was my favorite. I thought the first Avengers was weak. I thought they had to get their groove. I thought there was too many characters, and I think these all suffer from, there's too many people in it. There's too much going on, too many people. They're way too long. The jokes get old. By the last movie, I mean, everything is so old and formulaic. It just, I just died on the vine watching it. Now, Endgame, I have never finished, because with Infinity War and Endgame, both of them were spoiled spoiled on Instagram by comments. People told the ending the very first weekend it was out. So I'm like, why am I even going to bother to put myself through these movies when I already know what's going to happen? So social media has some to do with how I feel about these movies. But the other thing is, I really do like the standalone movies much more. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I like Iron Man. I even like the Thor movies, which nobody likes some of the Thor movies. I like the Thor movies. I'm good with Captain America. I'm good with all these things. I even enjoyed Black Widow when they put that out recently. I like them all. I just don't like it when they put, and I love Superman. Forget about it. I love not Superman, Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. But when they put them all together, it just feels like a mess. It just feels like a mess. It feels too formulaic. The jokes are just, they're stale, they're old, they're done over and over and over again, and I just can't do it, and I can't sit this long through a movie. It is these kinds of movies, a popcorn movie. But if you love these movies, and I know a lot of people love these movies, just enjoy them. Ignore me. Just turn me off and ignore me, and forget I ever said this. But yeah, the Avengers, the 4 Avengers movies are just not movies that I connect with. Now, I have to say that I did give, I think, Infinity War or Age of Ultron, I gave it props for movies of the year, best movies of the year one year, because of what it did, like what it did at the box office, and how many people it got people into, it got butts in seats in theaters. So I did give it props for that. So, you know, there is some value here. It's just not necessarily something that I'm going to watch again soon. So those are my picks. If you're still here, thank you. If you clicked away, whatever, hopefully you'll come back. Hopefully you haven't unsubscribed and thrown me to the wolves. But I want to thank you for watching this video. As always, I appreciate everyone who clicks on these videos and takes time out of their day to watch and hopefully enjoy these. And you know, this is meant all in good fun. I'm not here to hurt anyone's feelings. That's not my thing. So just take my commentary for what it's worth, and let me know in the comments, what are movies that people love that you just don't like? Let me know. And again, I want to thank you for being here. If you like this kind of content, this crazy, what I like, what I don't like, recommendations, hauls, collection updates, collection overviews, recommendations, all those kind of things, anything that has to do with physical media, please feel free to subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know when I upload. And I am going to get back to my couple times a week uploading schedule now that things are a little bit more settled. And I thank you for your patience and just for being here. You guys are the best. So that's going to do it for me today, and I'll catch you in the next one. So for now, that's a wrap.